Alrighty, I just picked up a new project at my local Savers, and this was $15.49. It is a Gorilla practice amp, model GG25. It's supposed to do about 25 watts of power. We'll be measuring that to check that out. This is what the front looks like. Looks like it's in decent shape. A little bit of rust on the top here. Kind of dirty. It's been sitting probably in a damp environment for a while. Here's the back of it. These are from the mid 80s, and you can see this one says made sometime in July through September of 1985. That's the vintage. It's flipping. Look at that. 4 ohm 15 watt speaker on the back. So it has 12 volt input. I think it can run on a 12 volt battery. And it's got a headphone line out on the back. No independent speaker out, so I suppose I could add a jack if I wanted to do that. I wanted this to be able to drive another speaker, but probably don't need to. So I did turn this on, and major issue it has is very bad, very dirty pots in it. So definitely needs some cleanup on the pots. And I'll use the Deoxit fader lube on those. That works real good for those graphite contact potentiometers, which I'm sure that's what's in here. So I guess that's the first step. So getting this thing up and running, and then it definitely needs a cleanup. It's got a lot of dust on it. But that'll be it. It has this little tube stack, which is supposed to make it sound like a tube amplifier, I guess. It adds a little distortion, kind of overdrives a little bit. We'll put the scope on it and see what that's actually doing. So let's get started. Let's pull the electronics out and see what they look like. Alright, just 4 screws. So it holds the amplifier chassis in there. And there's a couple of fuses here. Here's all the offending pots lined up, and they look really easy to get to, so should be easy to clean those. Don't see any issues with any of the electrolytic capacitors. None of them are swelled up or anything. Guess this is part of the tone stack here, if I had to guess. And there's the main amplifier chip. If I can zoom in and we can see what that is. TDA 2030. I wonder if that's date code. Could be. Anyway, that's what's making the sound. And not a whole lot else on here. I thought there was, yeah, here we go. There's a little, I think that's probably a dual op amp. Zoom in on that. We can check the book on that, but I think that's what that is. So that's all there is to it. Dual op amp and little power output chip. And a little tone work here. So let's clean up the pots. Get this thing sounding good again. Alright, I sprayed those all those pots down with Deoxit fader lube. It was pretty easy to do, just kind of sprayed right in the tops here, and then manipulated them, turned them a bunch of times just to wear in the product. So let's do this test. I got it hooked up to one of my bench speakers there. And it's quiet as a mouse now. Alright, let's just hook the guitar up real quick and see how she sounds. Alright, got her hooked up. Now my apologies to the musicians out there. I am not a guitar player and this guitar is hopelessly out of tune, but it does make noise. Now I can tell that the tone stack is working. You hit a low note and you can hear the bass. Hit a high note. The treble's working, mid. Probably a higher one. Yeah, middle is working. So all the tone stack's all working well. Volume seems to be getting plays pretty loud. Now when you hit this tube stack, you get kind of a dirty sound, like it's emulating a tube amp. So there we go. The Oxid Fader Lube. Miracle in a can. Quick fix. So I will put the chassis back in the amp and hook it back up to the original speaker and clean up the chassis or the box a little bit. But anyway, and then I want to do a test on, we'll put a sine wave in and see what kind of power we can get out of this thing. So let's do that now while I got it out of the box. Alright, got this little thing hooked up to a driving some dummy loads. Now the speaker in the case down there is a 4-ohm speaker. So I paralleled up my two stereo 8-ohm speakers to make it 4 ohms, so it matches what this thing is supposed to be doing. And I've got all the controls set at in the middle. All the tone controls, master volume up most of the way, and just playing with the regular volume control. And what I'm doing, we're putting in a 1 kilohertz signal, sine wave, and I'm just increasing this till it starts breaking up. So right about there is where we start getting distortion, and that is we'll call it 3.3, be generous, 3.3 volts of RMS voltage. So formula is 3.3 squared times 3.3 divided by the resistance. So that's doing about 2.5 watts, 2 3/4 watts undistorted. So anything above that and it really starts breaking up and distorting. So that's what this little amplifier can do. What do they claim? 30 watts? Yeah, or 25 watts. GG25. Well, they missed it by a factor of 10. Really a 2.5 watt. Order of magnitude off. But that's okay. It still sounds pretty good. Now when you turn it up and you start getting some breakup on it, that's probably what you want to hear with your guitar amplifier anyway, so I'm not sure how that breakup matches up with a real tube amp. I did try playing with the tube stack on and off. You can see it really does, well, depending on what it wants to do. Sometimes it really messes with the wave, sometimes it doesn't. I saw one time it looked like it was just doing putting out a triangle wave. So maybe depending on the frequency it'll do different things. I'll see there's increasing the frequency causes this to break up at that level. We'll bring it down. That's much lower. It's was that 100 hertz? There we go. You see it. Oop. There, when you go from just pure sine wave, or with the tone stack off, what do they call this? Tube stack? Yeah, tube stack. So you turn the tube stack on, it gives you a little bit of a triangle wave. So that's kind of what it's doing. So there we go. The little Gorilla amp can do about 2.5 watts undistorted. And well, let's really crank it up and see what we can get out of it. Okay, that's about 4.6 cranked all the way up. Well, we'll call it 4 3/4 to be generous again. 4.75 times 4.75 divided by 4. Nah, that's wrong. Can't be 90 watts. 0.75 times 4.75 divided by 4 equals, okay, so 5.6 watts. So cranked all the way, that's what I'm getting out of it. Highly distorted too. So there we go. Let's put it back in the chassis and listen to it again. Alright, now it's a lot better now. Get no noise in the volume controls. It's sound great. So I think this will make a nice little practice amp for someone who's trying to learn how to play guitar, which is not me. But I'll hang on to it and try to find a home for it. And hey, sounds great. It's the tube stack sound, if you like that. So let me go ahead and finish cleaning this up, and I'll be into the quick cleanup and restoration of the Gorilla GG25. 25 watt, well, maybe more like 5 watt amplifier, undistorted. Or not even 5 watt undistorted, maybe 5 watt total, but maybe 25 is how many watts it draws from the power supply. Anyway, nice sounding little practice amp. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.